So I'm assuming that you saw this the same way I saw this, because as two people who talk Kentucky basketball a lot on this program, we the Google alerts start to pick up, right? Or just, people are listening. Technology is listening. And they hear me talk about Mark Pope, and now my feed is just filled with like, did you see Mark Pope said this? And they did the exclusive KSR Mark Pope interview that was really well done, by the way. Shout out to Matt Jones and all those guys. But it was awesome. I listened to the whole thing, found it wildly entertaining. There was a moment in it that Mark Pope seemed to take a subtle jab at Reed Sheppard. Now, backstory here being that Reed Sheppard and the Sheppard family are very close with Mark Pope. But we remember there was a moment last season in Mark Pope's first to Kentucky where Reed Sheppard pulled up to a game in an Arkansas t-shirt, basically showing support for John Calipari. Now, he was wearing Kentucky shorts, I believe, but the Arkansas shirt with Kentucky shorts, it was not received well by BBN. Reed Sheppard misread that situation completely. But Mark Pope didn't say anything on it at the time, just sort of let it go. And he commented on it in this interview with KSR. He was talking about how much he loves Rick Pitino, which we know, again, there's a lot of love between Rick Pitino and Mark Pope. But at one point, Mark Pope says, word for word, quote, "Now, I'm not going to wear a St. John's t shirt, but I love Coach Pitino." And he put this little wry smile on his face. And you knew exactly what he was saying. He was referencing what Reed Sheppard did to him. Basically, player to protege or coach to protege. It's the same situation, right? Reed Sheppard to Cal is not all that different from Mark Pope to Pitino. I'm not saying Reed Sheppard's one day going to coach a thing, but relationship wise, that's sort of what it is here. So, playful jab at Reed Sheppard. Is that how you interpreted that quote, Dion?
Yeah, I think it's a playful jab. I do want to say I don't think it's warranted yet. And here's why I say yet. So Pope and Patino, Pope is now coaching against Patino, so I think it's different. If Mark Pope was playing in the NBA, Rick Pitino left Kentucky to go somewhere else. Um, Shaky the way Patino left. I think it's okay if you wear Patino's school shirt while also having support for your university. Second reason, Reed Sheppard's not that good, and John Calipari got him drafted third. John Calipari might have made this kid 15 to 20 million dollars. I think it's very well deserved to wear one single t-shirt based upon being made 15 to 20 million dollars off one guy.
Yeah, so I guess to have this conversation, you kind of got to go back to the original moment and be like, was this a good move from Reed Sheppard or not? I didn't care about it at the time. Like I thought it was interesting that he would do this, largely because we were told, we were beat over the head with it constantly about how close Reed Sheppard and Mark Pope are, right? Like when Mark Pope first got hired, it seems like a decade ago at this point. It was only 1 year ago. But that first week's biggest talking point of Mark Pope taking the job was, will he get Reed Sheppard back for year two? There's serious interest. The Sheppard family loves the Popes. Did you see Reed Sheppard showed up to his press conference? Did you see his dad clapping? Look, it was all wrong. And I think there is an element, I don't want to I should be careful with how I say it. I think there's an element where the Kentucky fan base has made some conclusions based on how close the Sheppard family and the Pope family are that just haven't played out to be true. Reed Sheppard has not prioritized Mark Pope's Kentucky over his own professional life or over any of his interests, right? Or even over the guy that he played for at Kentucky. Reed Sheppard's one of the few guys who has been seen in Arkansas gear. And that's okay. He's allowed to do that. But it's just surprising given who Reed Sheppard's dad is and given, I don't know, the context here and the belief, more importantly, of the Kentucky fan base that like the Sheppards are Pope guys. Reed Sheppard is a Mark Pope guy. He's also a John Calipari guy as much as he is a Mark Pope guy. And that's
I,
okay, you know?
I think he's a Mark Pope guy. I think if he played college basketball today, he goes to Kentucky, plays for Mark Pope, everything's different. I genuinely think he was probably considering going back to school. Cal made some calls and said, by the way, dude, you're probably going top 3 to 5. Well, I just moved you up from like late lotto to top 3 to 5. And then he went what 3 or 4 to the Rockets it was and on draft day it was like, whoa, Shepherd's gonna go this high. That's a lot of money. Like, and that's just a lot of money. It's a 4 year guaranteed contract and a lot of money. And I love Kentucky fans. I love how passionate they are. And I think Kentucky fans, as well as Mark Pope, have every right to take subtle jabs based upon him wearing the shirt, have every right to feel some type of way based upon him wearing the shirt. And I think it's a both things can be true situation where the guy who is now on like a 4 year, probably $22 million deal, if not higher, has every ability to kind of play both sides because it's a lot of money that Cal made him. And there's probably a genuine connection between him and the Pope family. And obviously, there's a genuine connection between him and the University of Kentucky as well.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Reed Sheppard played in 52 games as a rookie in the NBA. He averaged 4 points and 1 assist per game while shooting 35% from the floor and 33% from three. Like, Cal getting that guy picked top four may be the pinnacle of his career at this point. We don't know. Maybe it'll get better. I don't know. Maybe Houston's too loaded and he'll get on a depth chart somewhere else at some point and break out. But I don't know. It would be hard for me if I'm a Reed Sheppard family member, no matter what my belief of Mark Pope is or whatever my previous relationship is. It'd be hard for me to not really appreciate what John Calipari has done for me or my son or whoever Reed Sheppard is, because it's quite an accomplishment given that he's a 6'2" shooting guard that is not currently in an NBA rotation like that. The more interesting part of this, quickly before we wrap on this, to me is this. So Mark Pope is so abundantly a nice guy, truly, through and through. It's one of the things I love about him. I have come to appreciate the fact that like it's such a contrast from Cal, right? Not that Cal was like this horrible person, but like he played the villain role so well. And I think normally being the head coach at Kentucky, there's sort of a natural element of the job where you're supposed to be a villain in order for it to work. And KSR touched on this where they asked Mark Pope about Louisville. It was like, hey, we're supposed to hate each other, and you and Pat Kelsey just constantly praise each other. Are we going to change that ever, or what is this? Mark Pope is just truly a nice guy. He is not wired to take jabs at anyone, playfully or not. So for him to do this, now again, it's playful. I understand he loves Reed Sheppard, but he took a jab. That's what he did. He was talking about Rick Pitino, and he made it about a callback to something between him and a player. That's what he did. That clearly, to me, signals that, like, this at least has been on his mind, right? Like, this happened back in what, December, January? So I guess my question on the backside of it is, did this actually get under Mark Pope's skin? Obviously, it's playful, but I don't think it's said out loud if it didn't actually rub him the wrong way.
I think it did. I think it also, the reason it got under his skin is Kentucky fans are correct about the relationship he has with the Shepherd family. And it's like, oh, y'all did that to me. You know what I mean? Of all people, like PJ Washington, I don't care. Boogie wants to go to Arkansas. I don't care. I don't know them dudes. We have a genuine relationship, and that's what you guys did. And I think that's why it got under his skin because I do think it's a both things can be true situation where he genuinely has a great relationship with Pope, and that's why I got under Pope's skin. But also, like, not to go back to the Cal perspective of it, but if you're Reed Sheppard, you came off the bench at Kentucky, and Cal let everybody think he was crazy for doing it, and he might have been correct. And he might have been correct the whole time. And I think that's why he wore the shirt. I think it's a both things can be true, but I do believe it got under Pope's skin just because of the relationship he has with Reed. And I think it was one of those situations where he was probably hopeful he just played neutral. Maybe he didn't wear the Kentucky shirt, wasn't coming to all of Pope's stuff, but also didn't play the other side with Arkansas the way some of the other ex-Kentucky players did.
Yeah, I think like I mean, I think it's reasonable for it to have gotten under his skin, right? Like again, there's a level of importance to who Reed Sheppard is to Mark Pope taking this job. Like the timing of it. Back to what I said. He was the most important Kentucky player at the time that Mark Pope took the job. And the talking point hugely was like, this kid loves Mark Pope, arguably more or as much minimum as he loved Cal, who he played for. And outwardly, Reed Sheppard didn't back that up in that moment, right? Like you had fair or not fair, you had to pick a side. When John Calipari was going to play Kentucky for the first time, you had to pick a side. And Reed Sheppard, who is outwardly supposed to be the one Cal player that is going to pick Pope's side, didn't. That's what happened. And I do think my interpretation of this, it clearly got to Mark Pope a little bit. And he didn't say anything at the time because he's a very nice, classy man. But also, let's keep it real. Mark Pope is a competitor. He is absolutely a competitor. And I think there's an element of this where he did the me and you move, right? Okay. All right. I'll remember that. Let me stow that one back here. And at the right time, when the right conversation comes up, I'm going to let people know that pissed me off.
Right.
And by the way, I'm not saying this damaged a relationship or anything. These two were picking up tornado debris together a week ago. It was Reed and Jeff Sheppard and Mark Pope like on roofs together. So they're fine. I don't mean to insinuate there's anything not. But sometimes like the people you're closest to are the people you compete the most with. And I think maybe that's the relationship at this point is Reed Sheppard is kind of playfully to Pope being like, hey, I'm a Cal guy. Is what it is. That's my coach. And Mark Pope's like, okay, all right, you were supposed to be my guy. That's fine. Go enjoy the bench, Reed. Like, I bet you that's being said privately too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And for what it's worth, the and Kentucky fans, don't be mad at me for saying this or be mad at me. I get it if you are.
Just be mad at me.
Just be mad. Like I get it. If you are mad at this statement, I get it. If Pitino left Kentucky during Pope's rookie year, I think Pope wears Pitino's shirt too. I really do. I really do. I think there's an element of that aspect of it that we have to be okay with. I think in the long run, you will see Reed Sheppard in all the Kentucky gear and probably distancing himself from Cal the more distant that relationship gets. But it's like when you leave a previous job and you had a good relationship with your boss, you still talk to your boss for a little bit before you guys separate, right? And the more you're with your new job, the more distant you get from your old job, and the more you stop answering those texts, and the more you stop wearing that gear, and so on and so forth, and you lock in with your new one. So I think it's so close. It's basically that ex-girlfriend that you still might get back with at the moment. Eventually they won't, and eventually it'll be okay. But right now, it's so fresh. I don't think it's a big deal Reed did it, and I honestly think Mark Pope might have too.
Yeah, I completely agree. Who was your dad's roommate in college? Do you know?
So funny story.
Oh, oh no.
My dad was only in school for about a week. He ended up having to go to Vietnam.
Wow, totally did
I
not
guess
know this.
that's not funny, actually. If I don't give the background, he was supposed to play basketball, forgot to turn in the waiver or something. I don't know the full story, but yeah,
Wow.
he got to campus and like practiced like 3 times and then had to go.
I have so much to ask about offline. This did not go the direction I wanted to. But the point I was trying to make was that I know the name of my dad's college roommate. I'm never going to walk around like rocking apparel that supports him, right? Like Reed Sheppard has a relationship with John Calipari. That's player coach. Jeff Sheppard being Mark Pope's roommate, respectfully, would not mean all that to me if I'm Reed Sheppard. Like, oh, cool, Pops, that was your guy? Nice. I played for this guy who got me taken fourth overall. It's perfectly okay for that to like be the relationship here. And I think what with a lot of love and a lot of respect from the Shepherd family to the Pope family, that's what's going on here. It's just privately, Reed and Cal are guys. Reed will throw it back and forth with Pope and vice versa. But I found it so interesting that Pope finally gave it back publicly, which I want more of because I've hypothesized this in other videos, Dion. The next step for Kentucky to me is Mark Pope getting a dark side. And I'm seeing a couple signs that that dark side is coming to light this offseason.
What I like about it is, Cal told Reed to wear that shirt. And I think that's also part of what got under Pope's skin. And he's starting to realize Cal plays a dirty game. I might have to too.
Yeah, I could see that too.